Hey guys, what's up? And welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today's video is going to be a really interesting kind of video. Basically where I'm going to be telling you all about PMS. Basically just what to expect when you start PMSing. So if you didn't know, PMS stands for premenstrual syndrome. So in a nutshell, PMS is basically a set of physical and emotional symptoms that anyone who has a period feels right before they get their period. It can be 2 weeks before they get their period or just a couple days before they get their period, and it can be kind of scary. And so if you're not that educated on it, I really wanted to make this video to show you that it is so normal and to just show you like kind of the symptoms to expect when you start PMSing so that you understand more of like what PMS is and where it fits into the cycle. I'm going to be giving you an overview of a general menstrual cycle. I'll be listing all of the physical and emotional symptoms that you can get when you start PMSing, and then I will narrow it down to the most common ones, and I'll just talk about it, tell you what's normal, what's not normal, what to kind of expect, and also try to give you tips on it. So before we get into this video where we talk all about the PMS, please like this video and comment down below why you're here, like if you just started your period and you've been feeling kind of PMS symptoms, or if you haven't started your period yet, or if you like have had your period for a while and you just want to know more about PMS in general. And also please subscribe to my YouTube channel because I do so many other period related videos. I will link some down below that I think you might like, and you can also just go check out my period playlist on my channel. And yeah, I don't want to talk anymore, or I do want to keep talking, but not about what I'm talking about right now. I want to talk all about PMS and give you sort of a guide on what to expect when you start PMSing. So I actually have my computer right here so that I can look stuff up when I need to, and also so that I can make sure that I'm giving you guys reliable information because I do not want to spread false information. So first I'm going to give you the overview of a general cycle to show you where PMS fits into a cycle. So what I'm going to be talking about is like all about averages. It's something that I don't even meet up to yet because my periods are honestly so irregular. And we'll get to this later, but it's very important to know when you're PMSing, especially if you're having irregular periods, because it can help point to when you might be getting your period. Just keeping a lookout for the symptoms that I'm going to explain later on in this video is really important to monitoring your cycle, keeping track of your cycle, all of that. So the average cycle lasts 28 days. And so the menstrual cycle is counted from day 1 of your period. So day 1 is the day of bleeding. Day 1 is the day that you start your period, and this is the same for everyone. But how long your cycle lasts might not be the same for everyone. The average is 28 days, and that's what you should kind of like expect once you start becoming regular. But honestly, as I said, I'm so irregular. My periods come like every 2 months, and every 3 months, then like 2 weeks. It's so crazy, especially in the beginning when you first start having a period. So don't expect your cycle to be 28 days. Anyone who has a period ovulates on day 14 of the cycle, or around day 14 of the cycle if they have regular cycles. It's basically where one of your ovaries releases an egg. After the egg has been released, the lining of the uterus starts to change to prepare for pregnancy, but since there's no pregnancy when you get your period, the lining's just kind of there, and it's building up. So as I said, PMS stands for premenstrual syndrome, and it sounds like exactly what it is. Pre meaning before, menstrual, before you menstruate. It's when anyone who has a period feels a set of symptoms, both physical and emotional, around 5 days to 2 weeks before they get their period. The length is completely different for everyone. I personally PMS for like so long. I'm so jealous of the people who only PMS for like 2 days or even not at all. Not everyone has PMS. What's interesting though is that most people who have periods, over 90% say that they feel premenstrual symptoms, and it's honestly because of hormones. Your body's building up the lining, and that can make you feel like really icky kind of, which is what premenstrual syndrome is. There's so many bad symptoms. I used to think that you only felt like sick when you are on your period, like you only felt like crampy and bloaty and tired when you're actually bleeding. It's kind of sad because once you're regular, you really only get like 5 good days after you end your period, because then you ovulate, and then from ovulation comes PMS for most people. For me, whenever I have a regular cycle, I only feel good for like not even 5 days after I end my period, which lasts for like a week. And basically the reason for PMS, like if you want to hear the actual reason, is researchers think that PMS happens in the days after ovulation, like I said, because estrogen and progesterone levels, which are the female hormones, begin falling dramatically. What you are experiencing right before you get your period is just your hormones are just going down, and estrogen really drops like right before you get your period, which is why you might feel like almost like you're sickest right before you get your period, and then it kind of goes away and you just start bleeding. So now we are on to the symptoms part of PMS, which is honestly so much fun, guys. I cannot wait to tell you the glorious, amazing, beautiful, wonderful feeling symptoms that you're gonna feel when you start PMSing. There are tons of symptoms and they can be different for everyone. It all depends on your body and your hormone levels. Everyone is completely different. Okay, so I'm gonna talk about the physical ones first. Joint or muscle pain, headaches, fatigue, which is basically feeling tired, weight gain because of fluid retention, basically like where your body holds on to more water, bloating, chest tenderness, acne, or like a lot more pimples than you usually get, constipation, diarrhea, and or gas, and cramps. So those are all the physical symptoms. I'm gonna go into more detail about like the most common of those after I read read to you the emotional symptoms that you will get, and honestly the emotional symptoms are so incredibly real. I know a lot of people don't really take like the emotional side of things seriously. Maybe it's just because like mental health is really something that's not like really accepted like enough in this world yet. But they're so real, and they are feeling anxious, feeling depressed, crying a lot, mood swings, irritability, and irritability is basically when you feel like everything's kind of just bothering you and everything kind of makes you like angry. Food cravings, trouble falling asleep, social withdrawal, and not being able to concentrate well. Usually the symptoms that I get are I usually get very moody, and my mom will be like, "Are you getting your period?" My brother will be like, "Are you getting your period?" I also get like really tired. Like I've always noticed like it makes so much sense like when you really start to track your cycle, and this is what I was saying earlier about like how important it is to really be aware of your cycle, because it's so fascinating. You can really see like all the changes in your body. So I'll get my period, I'll be like so depleted and tired then, and then it'll go up my energy, and then I'll ovulate and all my energy will go down, and then I'll be tired, like my most tired on my period, and my energy will go up again. And I will also go through which I will get into later, because that is one of the most common PMS symptoms. And I also usually feel a bit crampy and some back pain, and I will explain why you feel very crampy and like you have a lot of back pain before you get your period. It's a PMS symptom, as I said. So now we are on to the portion of this video where I'm basically going to be telling you the most common PMS symptoms, at least for myself, and I feel like for a lot of other people it's the case that the ones I'm about to list to you are the most common PMS symptoms. And I'm basically going to be going into detail about like why you experience them, what to expect when you get them, some tips on managing them, all that stuff. So the first one that is so common, it's mood swings. Like honestly, it is so common. There's so much to cover here because there can be such a wide variety of mood swings. So basically, as I said, your estrogen and your progesterone levels are dropping, and this is just causing chaos in all of your body. When your hormones are like plummeting, you just really don't feel good, and it can also influence your serotonin levels. And if you didn't know, serotonin is basically what can make you feel happy. It stabilizes your mood and like your well-being. So if it's affecting your serotonin, your mood will be affected as well. One of the most common mood swings for myself is crying a lot before you get your period. And this is kind of a stereotype, but like you could find yourself just crying over like something that you normally wouldn't cry about, and you can even ask yourself like, why am I crying about this? And it's literally your body, it's your hormones. There's nothing wrong with you if you find yourself crying a bit more than usual before you get your period. Something that really helps for me is reminding myself, okay, this is PMS, this is not what I am truly like. Also, any stress relieving activities like journaling, going for a walk, meditating, taking a nice hot shower. If you feel like you're about to like have a huge outburst on someone or like really cry a lot, take some nice deep breaths. It's really helpful to like curb those emotions before you experience them, but at the same time you don't want to push those emotions way too much, because it's never good to hold your emotions in. So if you really do feel like you need to have a good cry before you get your period, then totally cry. But if you really are feeling like excessively depressed and like anxious and just like not yourself and it's really bothering you, I would recommend seeing your doctor or talking to someone, because I'm just 14. I'm just giving my own opinion and personal advice, but if you really are concerned about the way you're feeling emotionally, I would go see your doctor. So the next very common PMS symptom that I actually thought you didn't get until you were actually on your period is cramps. Cramps are literally one of the worst PMS symptoms. It's so funny because it's like one of the biggest mornings that you're about to get your period. You can feel a multitude of kind of different cramps. There's like all kinds of cramps that anyone can feel. As I said, everyone's different, but the kinds I get are usually very like stretchy and twingy, like someone's kind of like playing with my uterus and my back. Oh yeah, I wanted to say, sometimes your cramps kind of roll over to like your back. It's not the case for everyone, as I said, but for myself, I do usually get a few cramps like the day before I get my period, and this is because the uterus is starting to contract to expel the blood out, and it's actually the reason why you will find yourself having cramps before you start bleeding. It's actually really interesting. I thought that you were having cramps because you were bleeding, like before I got my period and like educated myself and everything. I thought that when the blood was like actually coming out of you, that's when you felt the cramps, but it's actually because of the cramps that the blood comes out of you. So I just looked it up to like see what cramps are actually caused by. Cramps are caused by prostaglandins, which are chemicals a girl's body produces to make the muscles of the uterus contract. So prostaglandins are basically chemicals that tell your body to start having your period. So when you get your period, your prostaglandins were like, time to shed this lining. And this contracting muscles helps push the blood outside of your body during your period. It's so normal, and it's honestly just biologically what happens, because how else is the blood gonna get out there? If you feel like tightening or like squeezing or like stretching or pulling, it's because your uterus is like contracting to like squeeze that blood out. I've given cramp tips before in my videos, but the best tips that I have if you're experiencing cramps and you're not yet on your period is 1, put a panty liner on. I actually once had this happen to me where I was feeling cramps and I kind of shrugged it off because like my cycle wasn't regular. I didn't know if it actually meant my period, and I ended up ruining a pair of my favorite underwear, which was really really not fun. So if you're feeling cramps that like remind you like, oh, this might be like a period cramp, I would go put a panty liner on or like even a pad on, because the cramps are,
oh my god, my uterus is starting to contract, I'm gonna start losing the blood.
You don't want to ruin your underwear or your pants or anything like that. So if you're starting to feel cramps that you think might be period cramps, go put a pad on. But if you're having cramps in general, you just like want to relieve those cramps, you want some tips on that, all I can recommend to you is heat and pressure. Those are the two main components, and I will put like a list of what falls under each category here on the screen. So to do with heat, warm baths and warm showers, like even hot showers, that will really help, especially like if you let the water run on your lower stomach area and your back. A warm heating pad, that can really help. It's actually really helped with my cramps, especially when you like press it into your stomach. Something else that can help is a warm water bottle. If you don't have a heating pad, just like heat up a water bottle, place it on your stomach. That should really help. And now for pressure. So honestly, something that I didn't think would ever help me with my cramps, but something that actually really helps me with my cramps, is putting a ton of pillows and blankets on my stomach and kind of like pressing them into my stomach. Do some stretching, kind of lie on your stomach. Just kind of experiment with different positions to see what really helps relieve your cramps. And dark chocolate can also help relieve cramps. It's just something that's kind of been like, I don't really actually know the reason. Let me look it up. Dark chocolate may help because it provides a dose of magnesium. Magnesium has been found to possibly reduce menstrual cramps, and this is because magnesium can help relax the muscles in your uterus and stop painful contractions. So honestly, if you're feeling cramps, go have a piece of dark chocolate. Like, it's actually going to help you out. And just honestly, just really taking it easy on yourself if you're having really bad cramps and back pain, which leads me to my next most common symptom with having PMS, which is feeling tired or feeling fatigued, which is basically tired. You are going to feel so tired when you start PMSing. I mean, the average person does. It's totally normal if you like don't feel tired, but honestly, you probably will, so just expect that. I always feel so sluggish right before I get my period. Like, I don't want to get out of bed. It's not even like I want to go to sleep. My body is just like tired. I just want to like stay glued onto the couch. And I will read to you right now why it is common to feel tired during PMS right now. Fatigue before a period is thought to be linked to a lack of serotonin, as we were talking about. Before your period starts each month, your serotonin levels may fluctuate significantly, and this can lead to a major dip in your energy level. It's all just hormones. Like, your hormones are gonna go against you and make you feel so horrible and like so tired when you're about to get your period. It's not fun
At all.
Some tips I have if you want to feel a bit more energized, because like obviously you can't always just sit on the couch and like lie there all day before you get your period. I mean, life gets in the way. Something that really helps me when I'm feeling tired is like cold. Drinking cold water. I hate to say it, but splashing your face, I kind of just like wake yourself up. Also, some things that I found have helped me are just kind of taking things slow in the morning. If you wake up, you're feeling super tired, you're like, ugh, I'm getting my period. Don't rush yourself. Like, take it slowly. You'll find that you'll actually feel more energized if you really take things slowly, get up slowly. Don't rush yourself, because you'll end up feeling more tired, honestly. But if you're feeling like super fatigued and like you really don't feel like you can get out of bed, or like you feel like you might pass out or faint or something, I would definitely go see your doctor, because that might not be normal. One of the next most common PMS symptoms that I was talking about, like I experience a lot, is headaches. Headaches are literally the bane of my existence. I hate headaches so much. I usually do get a headache around a couple days before I start my period, or like the day before I start my period. Just be on the lookout for a headache before you get your period. Right before you get your period, the amount of estrogen and progesterone in your body, those two hormones, they
drop.
And this drastic change can trigger throbbing headaches. It's literally so annoying, and it can like really interfere with your day. So some tips that I have, I know a lot of people will say like natural remedies can help with headaches, like sitting in a dark room, or like eating some dark chocolate, or drinking some more water, just taking it easy on yourself. But personally for me, my headaches never truly go away unless I take some Tylenol or Advil. They're just pain medications, and they just honestly really help me whenever I get a headache before my period. I mean, if you do have like a really overpowering headache that feels like really abnormal, that's when I would go see a doctor. Another huge PMS symptom that I was discussing a little bit earlier are cravings. Cravings. I crave so many foods that like I never really have so much interest in, like when I'm not about to get my period. I crave chocolate, I crave salt, I crave bread, and yet again we can blame these annoying cravings on hormones. A 2016 study suggests that changes in levels of hormones estrogen and progesterone, please someone in the comments, can you like keep count of how many times I've said estrogen and progesterone? The changes in these levels can cause cravings for high carb and sweet foods before your period. Here's some more on it. Some research suggests that changes in the levels of the hormones estrogen and progesterone cause cravings for foods rich in carbohydrates and sugars before a period. Carbs and sweet foods may also help relieve the low mood and fatigue that often occur prior to the onset of a period. Your body's just gonna crave stuff that'll make you feel better, and it should. Honestly, if you're having cravings, go eat the cravings. Go have a bar of chocolate. Go have a bag of chips. Honestly, you deserve it. Your body is going through so much. Of course, like, don't eat too much of it and like don't go crazy, but let yourself have a little treat. If your cravings are like really excessive though, and like you feel like you might like actually like die if you don't like get them, I would see your doctor. And the last really common PMS symptom that is honestly so true for me, that is acne. And if you didn't know what acne is, or like you've never heard that word before, it's basically pimples and zits. I usually always get like really bad pimples right before I get my period. Like sometimes I'll scroll back in my photos and like I'll see photos taken like of my pimples, and like the date on the photos will say like a few days before I got my period. And yet again, there's a scientific reason for why you might be breaking out more right before you get your period, which is your hormones are fluctuating throughout your menstrual cycle, and just before your period starts, as we have discussed, estrogen and progesterone levels drop, and this can trigger your sebaceous glands to secrete more sebum, which is an oily substance that lubricates your skin, and too much can result in clogged pores and breakouts. Your hormones are basically doing everything in their power to make you feel the worst that you possibly can. I might do a whole video on pimples, like the struggle of pimples, dealing with pimples. Let me know if that's something you'd be interested in down below. Basically, just sticking to a skincare routine that works for you. Sometimes not even doing like skincare with tons of creams and like cleansers. Sometimes just giving your skin a break and just washing it with like some hot water can really help relieve that. Just really trying your best to like not touch your face too much, because your hands might have like oil on it or like bacteria on it that could make your skin flare up more. And just making sure that you take care of your skin in the best way possible for you. That will really help stop as much acne as possible before you get your period. Anyway guys, that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching it. I really hope that I was really able to help you out and just kind of outline all the things that you might be feeling right before you get your period or when you're PMSing. My mom and I have always been really open talking about periods, and so I was really educated on like what to expect, but I can totally see how if you're not educated on periods and like what's gonna happen before you get your period, it can feel really scary. And so I really hope that through this video I was able to help you see that the symptoms that you get before your period are normal. They're completely normal as long as they're not like too extreme. If you are concerned about like how you're feeling before you get your period, and like even when you're on your period, I would see your doctor, because I'm only 14. I'm not a doctor. Before you leave, please like this video, and if you made it to the end of this video, comment down below PMS is the worst, because honestly I hate PMS. I mean, it is a good warning that you're about to get your period, but PMS really is the worst. Like the symptoms are seriously no fun. And also please subscribe to my YouTube channel, because as I said, I do so many other period videos. I have so many other period videos planned to come out that I think you guys are really going to enjoy. So subscribe if you want to see those. And yeah, that is it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching it, and I love you guys. Bye.